Okay, so you guys know who I am, and you know Andrew is, and now you know who Ben is as well. So thanks for coming. Of course, our last two events have been online just simply because of the times we live in, right? And Andrew's probably got some folks who've joined online, which is cool. Just makes it a little bit wider and gives us a bit further reach. But yeah, that's a little bit about us. Ben's going to tell us a little bit about Crestron and how they do their thing, and that's going to be quite interesting. And I want to get straight into, let's go the other way. Let's get straight into the actual agenda. With if you haven't had some food, go out and grab some. I'm sure Shirley's left us some. Yeah. Okay, so I want to get straight into all these new features. I don't know if you've noticed, but if you climb into social media, you look on Twitter, you look on LinkedIn, and what's that other thing called? Facebook. If you go to any of those, there's so much noise going on about new features. It's like an avalanche of features. They're just pouring in, aren't they? These are just the ones that have just recently become available.
Close the door.
I think he's walking really fast. Okay, so if you have a look over there, the attendee list, the number of participants you can stick in a meeting, that's been increased to 300 with immediate effect. That's already happening. 300 is a pretty big meeting, right? You want bigger than that, you need to go to a Teams live event, which will do, what's that, 10,000, which is plenty, right? So that's immediately available. Safe transfer. Any of you remember safe transfer back from the PABX days? That was a good way to transfer a call. You transfer a call off to somebody, they're not there for some reason. What happens to the call? In the Skype world, it goes to voicemail, right? Back in the Skype days, we were saying, come on, bring the call back to the original person. That's it. It comes back to the person transferring the call. Great feature. Should have been there for a long time. How you doing, mate? Cisco and Avaya, they have finally certified their SPCs as well. So the list is growing, right? Of course, you've still got your two sort of most popular ribbon and audio codes, but the list is growing. We've got more and more in there. There's quite a long list. I'm surprised to see both of them there. They're a little bit late to the game. They never went too far with the last few generations of Skype, but they're there, so that's good. And that opens up that migration path as well from Skype for Business or on-prem solutions where you've got those SPCs. I don't know whether it's an upgrade to the existing ones. Do you know? Just an upgrade. Okay, just in the nick of time, by the way. Grab some pizza. I'm really happy to see that Bose has a really cool headset. When I looked at it the first time, I actually thought it was the new Evolve, what is it called? Evolve 2, Gen 2 from Jabra. It looks very, very similar aesthetically. I tried to get my hands on one. It's kind of like Surface Hub was a few years ago. World's best product you can't have. So as soon as it's available, I'll try and get one and see if we can have a good play with it and see how it goes. Those of you who haven't noticed the free version of Teams, I don't know if you've noticed that. That's out. Try to get my wife on it, and she went, "What's wrong with WhatsApp?" Go figure, right? There's all that sharing of calendaring and all that kind of stuff, which I thought was cool, but apparently I'm a geek, so it's lost. So I don't know how that's going to go. We shall see. But it is cool that it's now getting the meeting scheduling in there. It's got a whole bunch of other little bits and pieces that they're working on in the back end to really make it compelling. What they're doing, what do you reckon is the strategy from a Microsoft perspective? Why are they giving it away? What do you reckon?
Very emotional.
Sort of. If you think about it like this. That's it. That's data. Yeah, to some extent. What Microsoft typically has done in the past, even in schools, is they give a lot of free stuff to schools software-wise. Why? Children grow up on it. When they leave school, what are they used to? Microsoft. So what do? That's what they buy. That's what they use. That's what they go to. So they're busy brainwashing, if you will, the next generation of people into using tech. Not really brainwashing. They're getting them used to a platform that's very common, right? Let me be politically correct. Sorry, Microsoft. Then the on-demand chat translation. So my brother, I don't even know if he's on the call. I know he said he'd be there. If he's not, he'll find out about it. He was going on about Google having this ability to, while you're texting, to switch languages. So you can text to somebody in English and they might be in Mandarin or Russian or whatever it is. And it makes it look like you actually know what you're doing, right? Of course, you know, it's AI, so there are limitations. Now, that is coming to mobile chat in Teams. That's cool, eh? Be able to switch languages, that would be really useful. Priority notifications. Remember the priority notifications? You could send a message to somebody And if you marked it as a priority notification, until they acknowledge that message, every 2 minutes, they keep getting an alert for 20 minutes, right? Why? It's a priority. I need to get hold of you, right? That's the whole idea. So they originally said, oh, what we'll do is we'll give you a limited number of priority notifications because of the strain on the back end. And so later on, we'll make a decision on that. Well, they've just announced that they're good with it. Everyone can have it. It's anyone who's got Teams gets it. There you go.
Would you like your manager to have that feature?
My manager is not even allowed to have Teams. Right. Pulse survey. Yeah, exactly. Pulse survey is really a cool feature. And I've got about a 20-minute demo that I recorded just because getting through it in a timely way is really difficult. So I recorded and spliced and edited so I could cram the whole first line worker experience from the administrative side and the user side into a 20-minute bundle, which I'll show you. And I've got the Pulse survey in there. It's basically an embedded survey. It's written in forms and it's specifically designed for a pulse check of people during COVID. How are you finding working from home? What challenges do you have? Pre-baked in there. The answers are preloaded in the back end. They're made available to the admin, and you can do a quick check on how people are doing. Smart, right? And of course, because it's forms, you can build your own. You can do whatever you like with it. And then, of course, this email integration that kind of happened quite a while ago. But what we're talking about here is replying from Outlook to Teams, moving that over with a reply, moving over your content, your attachments, all that kind of stuff. So I had a look. My Outlook client doesn't even have that ability. So I understand. Andrew, have you seen it?
I haven't. I thought it was released, but
Yeah, it is. I had a look. It was released. I think it was in May somewhere. But yeah, I don't know. Have they put New Zealand on the map yet?
probably not.
I think that's the problem, eh? But wait, there's more. And these are just the things that are already out here. I mean, the Teams phone. Now please note, it's Teams phone gets raised hand from the phone. From the UI on the phone. There you go. There you go. Yeah. We've got live captions on the phone edition. So you've got a screen on your Teams phone, live captions right there, ready to go. People app. I think People app is kind of the thing that gets Andrew really excited. Hey, Andrew, come on, you know you like it.
Yeah, but it's not released, so.
So that's the whole new look and feel of contacts. You know where the contacts, you've got the contact object, you've got somebody's photo, you've got their title. Who likes contacts in Teams? I wasn't expecting any hands. I just thought I'd ask anyway. We all know it's broken, right? It doesn't really work properly. Your contacts, it only looks at those in the default folder. It's got all these inherent issues, which at least one of us have been making lots of noise about. Hey, Andrew. And so we're really looking forward to that eventually rolling out all the way, but they're going to be releasing it on the phone. We've got lock and lock from PC, one-click transfer, integration with Skype Consumer. I don't know if you've seen it. That came out a couple of months ago for the desktop. It's going to be on the phone as well, right? So I don't know who phones Skype Consumer anymore these days. I do understand apparently some people still do interviews that way. Yeah, it's apparently still very much loved. And then of course Surface Hub, getting some of those features we saw come early in the desktop client. And as soon as I saw this announcement, the first comment I saw in one of the channels was, when do we get 7x7 on Surface Hub? Typical, eh? You just can't keep ahead, but there they are. So this was one that I didn't actually realize wasn't on the Surface Hub in Teams. I didn't realize that, because how often do you call into a meeting room from a phone? It doesn't really happen, eh? But we did have somebody raise this in our organization as a fault. And one of our engineers went looking for this fault for ages. Do you remember, Andrew? I think it was Tian. He was looking for, why can't I dial into the meeting? Since I moved it to Teams, I can't dial the room directly. So, yeah, that's kind of where it is. So I know I mentioned 7x7. It is coming. In fact, apparently it's rolling out early part of July. Yeah, I know, it's late. Yeah, but that's why the slide says June. Yeah, it's GMT plus 30 days. Yeah, so it's supposed to, I don't know, I saw an announcement this morning saying that there was a whole stack of features rolling out as of today, but I can't qualify what they are, because you know how it is when the features roll out, they pop up in different parts of the world in bits and pieces, and I usually make a noise when I see them on my own tenant. And I'm not talking about my Microsoft in the Lexel tenant. So when I see it in my work tenant, that's when I go, there it is. That's why you're always seeing snapshots of Andrew, because he's in my contacts. So world famous in New Zealand, Andy. Multi-window, oh my goodness, I cannot wait for this. I'm so tired of getting jammed into one window, and I've got so many, not as many screens as Tian, but I've got like all these screens at home, and I can only put everything on one monitor. Isn't that annoying? I want to take it, like in Skype, you want to take that video out, pop it on another screen, put content here, put some chat over there. Finally, it's coming. Well, apparently it'll be released as a bundle with the 7x7. And what I saw this morning is the, what is it called? People View.
Gallery.
What's it called? Is it called?
No,
it's
People view.
yeah, it's I think it's called People View, where they got that sort of stage layout and you see everyone laid out. Yeah, apparently that's also bundled in. So we shall see. We shall see. Watch the space. I think in the next week or so. So the idea of the People View is if you're all joined in a conference with me remotely, and you're all turned video on, I actually see you as rows of people sitting in chairs. And apparently it's got something to do with the way we perceive people and spatial awareness. So when you reach out to touch someone, you can actually see that activity. So you can high five in virtual space, or you can poke someone or whatever it is. I did have a look at someone trying to demo it this morning. And the problem was that people are at different distances from the camera. So one person's really close up and the other person's far away. See, little heads and big heads. Yeah. Maybe it just reflects real life, I don't know. But it's, you know, it's going to take some getting used to. It's going to be interesting to see.
I wonder what happens when I get up and I walk over the people back to the auditorium.
You're not allowed to.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to get up. In fact, one of the do's and don'ts, they've actually got a do and don't section. And one of the don'ts is don't leave the meeting and come back, because you'll end up in a different seat and it'll just confuse people. So don't leave the meeting.
I was talking to a colleague about it this morning, so you put the guy in the middle and PowerPoint presentation again.
Where'd he go? Yeah, and the other thing, of course, is you will see yourself there as well.
Yes.
Right? That, yeah, I don't know. We shall see.
It's good to keep an eye on yourself. You know what you're inflicting on anyone else.
Okay, let's go with that. Now, this is the feature that originally this was the launch instant channel meeting from a new channel button in the bottom. Today, that's not out in New Zealand yet, but apparently it is surfacing already in some parts. So that button today, if you want to do that, you've got to go to calendar and you've got to go pick it up from the calendar button over there. But it's just basically going to be sitting over there and you can get to it at any time. So you don't have to go navigate to calendar to start up a meeting. Makes sense, right? The other thing that nobody said anything about is this little sucker sitting over there.
Oh, believe that.
You reckon that's photoshopped? So
I've been talking about that for a year.
I think longer, eh? So this is the feature that was not announced and stuck into the content that I was trawling through to try and see what's new and what's coming and so on. The new conversation button. How many of you have started a new conversation instead of replying to an existing conversation? In fact, I remember with Andrew and I forget who's the biggest one with the bug. I think you're the one who bugbear about that, right?
Yeah, I tell people off.
You tell people off, and then I remember, I think you told someone off, and then the very next message he did it as well, because it's just so easy to do, right? So new conversation is not meant for replying. That's for generating a new conversation. So good to see. I'm really happy that that's there. I agree with you, Andrew. I'll believe it when I see it, but it'll come. This is a feature that's it's been requested for when you dial in to a meeting. The current version actually shows the number. So if there's 100 people connected, I can see everybody's phone numbers that have dialed in. And, you know, the security police don't like that. And so now what Microsoft's doing is they're just asterixing it out, which is pretty cool. So it's, to be honest, a lot of the functionality you see like that's a standard Zoom feature. That's been in Zoom for a while. So things come out that way. And here's the list of things we know of that are coming up in the next quarter. So there's I didn't even bother with quarter 3 because there's an even longer list of features coming out in quarter 4. So yeah, it's called Together Mode. That's what it's called.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. So who's that prize for?
Not me.
It's called Together Mode, yeah. So there's a whole bunch of new things. The proximity join, even it's not even on here, but Cortana baked into the meeting rooms. Maybe have you guys seen that, Crestron?
Yeah.
So it's real, right? And no, it's not Alexa, it's not Siri, it's Cortana. So that's interesting. Lots of new features coming, right? If I told you it was coming in Q4, the thing is that what will happen is by the time they're released, there'll be new features in there. Some would have disappeared and new ones would have popped up as well. So it's just low-hanging fruit, right? They just try and hit everything they can. But what I've noticed personally is that most of the features seem to be in the meeting space. What do you reckon? What do you reckon is the reason for that? There's a reason, right? They're trying to take over the #1 spot in that area. So that's really, really interesting to see. Right, it's time to see how Crestron does it.
Hey guys, so I'm Ben from Crestron New Zealand, the GM here. Apologies, first of all, I didn't get the casual Thursday notice, so forgive the tie. Second apology, the bourbon, the vodka, and the rum are all back at my office. They didn't give me that notice. And the last bit is that I'm going to try and crush 50 years of blood, sweat, and tears into 30 minutes. So bear with me. I'm going to move pretty fast, but we'll see. So as you might have guessed, Crestron and Microsoft, that's actually a thing. It's been a thing for quite a long time. We were in the original iteration of what a link room system was, way back in the day. Granville nods like it was a good thing. And ever since, we've had a very strong relationship with Microsoft, finally relinquishing Windows 7 in a codec up to Windows 10 now, and very much at the forefront of bringing Teams meeting room into the realities that Microsoft has asked us to do. That's just a picture of our home base in New Jersey, which has exactly no people right now, just in case you're wondering. But globally, we're the biggest of our kind. So as far as AV manufacturing, control, automation, both in home and in commercial, we're the largest of our kind by a mile, and obviously offices everywhere, including New Zealand on the map, which it wasn't always. Right, and what we do is bringing the actual technology, the hardware technology to the space. So you guys, mostly a software company, we build stuff that fits into pretty much every scenario you find in the workplace, even in the environment we're about to walk into now with people going back to work and getting into offices. A little bit less so in the US, but obviously, but in New Zealand it's a particular thing. So pretty much just go check down that list. We do something along in those spaces across the whole shebang. But of course, what we're coming back into is a really strong Teams presence that has grown considerably in those periods that we were away, and being able to utilize a standardized, familiar platform on any device, not just the built-in meeting room stuff, has been the driver for a lot of this relationship. You guys know a little thing called Teams course, and you'll see some of the images here that are very familiar to you because they're supplied to us from Microsoft to talk about them. I'm not a Microsoft salesman, but it's getting really difficult not to be. And what we're talking about is taking those same video conversations or messaging, voice conversations, sharing that content and taking it back into either a meeting space that is built for purpose, or perhaps even back to your house, where the new working from home office might be. So all of those scenarios, as I said, some of the huddle spaces that used to be a thing, possibly not so much of a thing anymore, but the idea is the same. Anywhere with any device, being able to utilize Teams as a sharing collaboration platform, both for group or personal use. And we build stuff. So we start with a phone. If you've seen the Microsoft.com Teams devices stack, it starts at a Jabra headset and it finishes with a Surface Hub 2. And we fit in for all the blanks in between there. And they're all Microsoft certified devices, and we're working very hard to harness the power of Windows 10 and 365 and Teams within those environments themselves. So from a phone to the tabletop desk-mounted collaboration device, sound bars with touchscreen control, through to just a simple room booking panel that connects directly to Microsoft Exchange and ties back into the whole ecosystem. That's what we do. And then the next generation of this stuff, which is all in development and being released as we speak, even during lockdown, this guy here, which is a new tabletop version of that native Teams, but you can also plug in a laptop and run any old communication platform you want. And this little guy, which is, we call it the mini Mercury, because that one's the big Mercury. about to be released and could be utilized for a home phone, even if you wanted to do it, running a native Teams video. These guys are all very much out in the market today. We've probably got about 300 or so in New Zealand itself and being utilized all the time. That was just a soundbar as a preference because people wanted to take stuff off a table. They didn't want to have cables on the table, they wanted to have the soundbar there, so guess what, we brought out a soundbar. These are constantly evolving though, they're not static things. So back not too far when we first released the Mercury unit, it didn't have native Skype for Business because that's what we were playing with. And we were always looking to bring video into that conversation, and then eventually it became Teams, Skype for Business development thrown out, and now it is a fully Teams-enabled device with what we call a UC engine, but essentially it's the heart of the matter to drive the video. That's that thing there. So if you look at this as a Windows 10 NUC, but on a managed platform, so you can't get in there unless you got a screwdriver, as opposed to having a PC sitting in the room, running Teams, and people can play with it, unplug stuff, do whatever they like. Always goes back to its known state, which is a Teams meeting room. The key with this one is, you'll see it's in a slightly bigger scenario, we can build, still utilizing Teams, around an augmented sound system, multiple displays like a control room or something like that, all still utilizing the power of that video. Right, the key bit, I'll show the one back. So that, just in case you didn't notice, that's the native Teams interface, right? If something changes with Teams, Windows 10 firmware pumps out, that changes. That's not a Crestron thing, but it's on a Crestron panel. The kicker is that on that panel, we can switch from a Teams meeting to full-blown room controls, which is the main point of differentiation between us and any other Teams solution. So Crestron builds a room, we can turn your lights on, we can turn the projector on, we can do zero touch, we can do occupancy sensors that allow you to turn the room on when you walk in, that kind of thing. Or even just a really simple interface that literally flips on the page and you can present via HDMI or AirMedia, which is our wireless sharing gateway, or your lights or whatever. And then build an entire space around it. So picture a lecture theater or some of the larger boardrooms around the corporate spaces here. We're literally adding all the different spokes of what would build this sort of meeting room into a larger group collaboration space, still using Teams. The latest appetite has been for what we're calling the 80-20 rule. We'll go one more over. So in general, people have already made a decision what platform they're going to run as far as the communications go. So Teams, obviously, and 80% of the users are going to be running that. 20% of them might be guests or somebody that refuses to cohere with everybody else, like a CEO who just loves Zoom or something like that for whatever reason. Traditionally, you'd have to build a separate room to allow for the BYOD, or have a bunch of different things on the table, lots of different screens, lots of different cables, all that thing to achieve it. What we've done is brought out a new version of that Mercury unit, MX150, that is native Teams built in until you plug in a laptop and want to run a different platform. Then it takes over the speaker and microphone and the control of the television, or the display you've got in there. Everything comes off your laptop from that point. But still fully certified Teams. Okay, now these are a couple of teaser slides that we just had a big discussion with the US in the last few weeks, because obviously they're rapidly pulling things into development that were, thought of probably 5 years down the track, and we're nimble enough, privately owned company, not on the share market in the US, to actually rearrange R&D real quick, and we have very good connections, obviously, with Microsoft R&D, so we can symbiotically move forward quickly in the future. And this is a scenario that we'll be seeing eventually, I guess. It's just utilizing any space, but still wanting to be able to book it, still being able to join via Teams, to use Exchange to connect on your device, or being able to see visually, you see those, the green and red indicators there, or even a room booking panel on the outside, that give you a visual representation, let alone what you might see on your personal device. Through the largest boardroom, likewise utilizing various technologies, but the heart of it is still going to be Teams. And then a completely casual space that is it's still a meeting room, but it's got no walls. There's chairs, there's a display. People still want to utilize that in maybe a casual or a more open environment, less of that tight huddle space type scenario, up to the point where it's even just your house becoming that office. And these are some of the bigger trends, obviously, we're seeing globally, not particularly so much here, as in this zero touch thing. I haven't had too much call for it. We can do it. We've been doing it for years. We've had voice control for years. It's just a matter of If that's the thing that you really need to do, then yes, we can build it in there. The key one for a lot of this stuff is remote management, and it's been a thing for a while, being able to mimic what the IT department or the phone department would do. You buy 100 phones, they get shipped to you, you plug them into the wall, they know what they're doing straight away. That's never been achievable with the audio-visual hardware until very recently with us. And this is another little teaser. I'll explain the other bit in a minute. So we're going to go to the ability to walk in with your phone, connect via Bluetooth to a touchscreen that's a Crestron touchscreen, and take over control of that touchscreen, and it will automatically load the interface onto your phone. So no touch. You don't have to go to the touchscreen and do anything with it. It's already on your personal device that you've been cleaning down vigorously. Kind of going to look like that, and we're talking about in the next few months that will happen. Not like Paul's promises was. And then of course working from home, so you can use similar devices. Crestron's been very big in the residential market for a long time. In fact, a lot of the commercial products that we do are developed in home first, including things like audio-visual firmware or hardware firmware stored in the cloud. And this is a system we call Crestron Home. Genius. Turning your living room or your office or your study or the garage, whatever, into a meeting space with basically a configurable app that again is on your phone, and you can have a look at it. You can go Crestron Home if you wanted to. There's a little demo mode, and you can play around with this, download it for free. But essentially, we're turning, if that's a requirement, turning that into a working space, and the kids know it's green or red. Don't come in. And then that mini Mercury, we'll take the Crestron Home app and plonk it in there. So you can still use this as a phone or a video device or a meeting device. And these are shipping later this year. Right, so just to extend that a little bit. And Lexel lads may or may not know this. So again, during lockdown, we share the space. Logitech does Teams certified devices. We do Teams certified devices for collaboration spaces. They don't have a proper management tool to allow you to see what's going on with that from a remote location. If you add a Logitech Rally or Meetup and pop that UC Engine video heart thing we were talking about before, then it can report to our cloud storage, and you're able to report, manage, check out what's going on in a more sensible fashion. So that little bit of a partnership was developing that sort of stuff. And it's both the Rally and the Meetup currently. You weren't supposed to see what was on that display. Right. And also allows a Logitech room then to get the Crestron control brains to work with it. Right, I'm just going to go jump straight into this one. So XIO Cloud. 2018, we became the Microsoft IoT Partners of the Year, and I always thought it was for our team's hardware development, but actually it was mostly around the Azure hosted XIO Cloud. And this is the bit where we're taking the credentials of any AV device that's Crestron into the cloud, stored, hosted there. All the brains, as far as the unit goes, are stored in the cloud, and then you're able to, from that, use a portal to remote in and access your devices, plus take analytics out of it and all sorts of other things. Logitech has been added as the first third-party device to that, so utilizing their sync mechanism, taking those credentials, come summer 2020, meaning winter New Zealand time, into our cloud. And that's the guy. So it's basically a deployment tool to start with. So before that phone gets shipped from the manufacturer, you can apply its MAC address and IP address. When it gets to the room, you can name it before it even gets there. You can tell it what room it's going to be in, and when it gets plugged into the wall, it's all ready to go. So deploy quickly, manage remotely, monitor instantly, and evolve confidently. I'm just going to try and get up. For you guys can ask questions if you like. I'm just going to try and get a live portal into that XIO Cloud so you can see it.
While you're doing that, I'll challenge you with the first question.
Sure, bud.
You knew it was coming. How much?
For XIO Cloud?
Yeah.
Same as Cisco. Just joking. So it's actually, we've actually just changed the model. It was a device, because we didn't have that many devices out there that were Crestron XIO Cloud capable, because we have to build them. It's a different chipset. So and the further you go back into retroactive fitting chipsets, not that cool. So over a period of time, we've developed that whole list of products now, and it's worthwhile taking it to a room solution. So it's actually room-based license instead of a device-based license. And it's something like, works out to about $3 per device, if you like, per month. Yes?
Is it available in all Azure region?
Yeah, actually, yeah. So wherever Azure is hosted, we could, and actually it will point back to whatever server you want to go to. It doesn't have to necessarily transpond to Singapore or that sort of thing.
What's it called, did you say?
XIO Cloud. And obviously it's part of your ACR. So kind of important. I'm just trying to keep this thing in there.
We'll get to that in a moment. So just that last piece, we don't have too much time, so we'll come back to that.
Okay.
So I'll just bring my PC around this way. Now, first line workers. You guys know what first line workers are by now, right? You all know, ladies and gents. So first line workers are, Microsoft calls them the face and the heart of your business. Why? Well, you know when you go to a store and you go, oh, I came to that store because, you know, that guy always remembers my coffee order and he's always funny and he's the face of that business. He might be the owner too. But very often where you go, whether it's to Vodafone for some services, or whether you go down there, or you pick up the phone, you call in a contact center. Have you heard people go, I hate calling such and such. I'll end up on a call for hours. That is the face of that business. Is it a good face? You probably won't recommend them, will you? So face, sorry, man. So the face of your business are the people that they may not even have an invested interest in your business. They're the people who are there, they're just doing a job, and because they really are disconnected from anything higher than the immediate level of management, they don't realize that they have a big part to play. They don't realize that they're actually the first people customers see, and they're the people that the business is measured by. Can you see the value of first line workers? Why they're the heart? Well, those are the people behind the scenes. You've got a product that's broken, you take it in, the guy in the back who goes and finds you a replacement, who makes sure that it's tested and it's clean. The guy who pitches up at your home to fix the water leak. Those are the heart. They're the guys who make the engine run, right? They keep it going. Again, they're kind of customer facing, but at the same time, they're more of the back end. So the guy who pitches up at your house and he's there to install your internet. He's part of that business, right? Traditionally, those people have not had access to the technologies we use. In fact, in my line of work, that part of the business has largely been just missed, entirely missed. You know, the people who are on the floor in you know, I don't know, maybe it's a warehouse and they're doing stock takes and they're arranging shoes and whatever it is, those people have never had an interest in Microsoft Teams. They've never even had an interest in Microsoft, period, or in computers for that matter. So very often there are people who are not desk-bound, or if they are, they don't have a traditional device like we're used to. You know how much they make up of the market? Microsoft estimates they make up 80% of the global workforce. So imagine our business is targeted to 20% of the workforce. It's a bit dumb, eh? Imagine if we could tap into that other 80. Right, that's what first line workers is all about. Now, I've got a video which I'm going to hold back on just for a moment. And what I might do, because I think we're going to run out of time, is I'll put that on the channel and you can watch it in there because it's 20 minutes, which is quite long, right? And it's already at chipmunk speed. So if I play it any faster, it's just going to be warp speed, right? And you won't be able to follow. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm talk about a little device. And I don't know if any of you know what this is. This is an Android device. It's called the HMT1. And it's made by a company called Realwear. And yes, it runs Microsoft Teams. So how it works is it's a wearable. It's got a camera built into the end over here. And it's fully voice driven, voice activated. Everything you do on it is just by speech. So it's designed for hands-free environments. So this is your first line worker, but you know the first line worker that's working on the high voltage and he's just climbed up a post and he can't take out his phone to take a snapshot of the problem or to phone a friend and go, hey, was it the blue wire or was it the red wire? He can't do that, right? Because he needs his hands to hold on. This is what this device is for, right? The Microsoft Teams build on this, it should be released any moment, but you'll be happy to know I've got the beta running and it works fine. It's actually pretty good. I only got it working last night, so my first Teams call was this morning. I was very tempted to call Andrew at 3 a.m. this morning, but I think he might not have approved. I could have used one of those sort of priority messages.
Yeah.
If you want to see it in action,
Is it online?
let's go and have a look.
Do you want me to call you in? No.
It's so subtle, you can hardly notice it.
Yeah.
So the idea is that there are. Remember, this isn't about getting a date. This is about staying alive, not getting electrocuted. So right now on the display, what I can see is my Teams client, and I can see my missed calls, call duration.
That's right.
I'll probably see a phone call come through in a moment. Select item 9. Item 9's Teams. So it comes with a mount. You can put it in a hard hat, you can put it in a cap. And now my pocket's ringing. I just want to see if it's online. It is online. You know what? Park that, Andrew. I'll call you. Oh, no, I can't. Why isn't it pitching over?
Oh, is your Wi-Fi dropped off?
Yeah, maybe. Navigate home. Can you hear it responding to my commands? My programs. Configuration. Navigate home. My camera. Ooh. Zoom level 4. Take photo. Hey, Travis. Navigate home. I've been told I'm not in the camera view. Got it. Thank you for the text message. So what it does is, let me see if I can make a phone call. My programs. So at the moment, my programs. There we go. Select item 9. Select item. Who's that? Andrew. Select item 9.
Do you want me to call you?
I think I am signed in. Give me a sec. So because I don't have my glasses, it's also really useful. Eh? Select item 5. Make a call. There she comes. Oh, this one has no choice. Eh? So I'll spell out Andrew's name now. Letters. Alpha.
I'll put you into this meeting.
Yeah, okay.
Because then people will be able to see.
Close keyboard. Yeah, I think you should be able to, yeah.
It worked before.
Close keyboard. Yeah, it should be on. I don't know if
Leave that open just in case it blows up.
I'm looking, I'm like,
It's
it's very weird. Yeah, it's not, I don't think it's on. Yeah, the Wi-Fi's off. Give me a sec. I'll just turn that.
Oh, that'll
Give me a second. It's just jumped off the Wi-Fi. But what actually happens is I can do this while I'm talking. So
I'm doing the wiring because you only got one eye on the job.
it's because I don't have my glasses here, so now I'm trying to compensate. But what's actually happening?
Glasses. Only some glasses.
Okay, wireless connection is.
You're only doing what you're trying to fault it.
Navigate back. Navigate home.
This is going to be a disaster.
Navigate home.
Probably get the shoebox out.
My programs. Select item 3. Navigate
Might
back.
make it worse.
Actually, this screen I can see clear. That's why I close this eye.
You want to find
It's weird. I'll let you have a look at it in a moment. Select item 9. It's weird. I don't need spectacles for this eye on here for some reason. It's like got this depth perception thing going on. So it doesn't look like it's right here. Select item 9. Select item 9. Sorry for connection there. Navigate back. It's racism. Select item 9. I don't know why it won't do that, but it looks like I'm online now. You want to give me a call now?
All right. Third time's the charm.
Yeah. I should have checked it before.
I presume it's got like a little 1/2 inch or 1 inch screen in it.
Yeah, look at that. Accept. Turn mic off. Sorry, just want to stop the Yeah, mine's on. Probably, but I only had a few hours with this thing. I don't know yet. Turn mic off. Is it on? Is it off? Okay. Anyway, so at the moment I've got video on, and in the stream you should be able to see what I'm seeing, right?
Yeah, we can see it.
Cool. For me, it's quite interesting because it looks like there's this image wherever I look. I can, because of how your eyes work, it actually looks like this floating box. It's going wherever I'm looking. And what I noticed this morning when I was playing with it is, like, now I can see the camera skew, so I'm not quite sure which side I must tilt my head to, because you can't help yourself. You want to correct the video, right? You want to correct the view. And you also are very mindful of not moving your head too quickly, because you can make people a bit seasick, right? Now, if I turn my video off, turn video off. Now, what I see on my end is I see squares like a normal Teams meeting. I see a box with Andrew, and then there's a box with me, and there's two other boxes. So if you share content, Andrew, I can actually see the content. Now imagine that. This display is quite close to my eye, but if you shared like a Word document, I'd be able to read it. This is a massive mistake. I don't even have my glasses on. But go ahead. Yeah, let's go for it. Let's go for it. Which document was I supposed to memorize? So there's a bunch of other stuff it can do as well. It can take pictures, it can take videos, I can store them, save them, attach them, send them, annotate them. It's insane. So they've actually developed massive amount of different market areas. The areas that I've seen the most on is BMW is a big spender on these. What they're saying is you can't send the engineer from Germany to the States anymore. It's out. So whoever the mechanic is in the shop, he's going to have to stick a headset on him, send him to the car. That's kind of what they're doing, right? Come on, that's not. You can't send somebody to go do some PowerShell scripting. That's crazy. Yes, exactly. Now, what they do have is they've got a heat-sensitive module that fits on the back that syncs up to this camera, and you can actually see heat signatures by looking at people. This was developed specifically for COVID. So you can look at people and you can see the ones with the highest temperatures. It also is, because if you think about it, I can wear PPE. I can put on a mask, I can put on some goggles, no problem. Let me spell Crestron. Let me see. Yeah. So, and I got the not sure there too, and I can see. So for me, I can actually say select item 14. Select item 14. So what happens on my end, as soon as something comes up on the screen, I get little bubbles over the lens. So if there's an interface that doesn't have voice commands, I just get a bubble with a number on. That's why I'm going select item. You go, what is he talking about? Has he lost his marbles? Well, I actually see them on the screen, so I can choose, which is pretty cool. Even in a web browser, you can even do things like that. I can go to the keyboard. I can, so I spelled out earlier, I spelled out Travis, but it uses the military, I had to go Tango, Romeo, Alpha, which was a bit painful, right? Alternatively, I can pop the keyboard by voice command, show keyboard. It shows me the keyboard. And as I move my head, a little square runs along the tiles of the numbers. Wherever I see one, I just go select. So maybe it's a password. I don't want you guys to hear. I'll just go. You're probably thinking, hey, he's not agreeing with us now. Oh. I can't. No, can't share my screen. Not that I'm aware of. I haven't seen any option to do that. Now, there's a lot of other applications that are developed for this platform. And you can imagine going to do site surveys, and you can do visual inspections and actually capture that on the fly. You don't have to go back to the office, download your photos, write down everything, recapture. Imagine it being instant. The best demo I saw, though, was from a power company in Canada. And I'm going to, a power company in Canada. What they've done is they've got IoT devices on all their gear at a power station. And what they do is each IoT device is beaconed on a map, right? So it loads the map and then it beacons up everything. And the guy gets to site and he goes, is it June or July? July, thank you. July site survey, show items for inspection. And he's looking at the layout, but it's got the map overlaid and all the heat points heat up. And he just goes, oh, okay, I'll go to section 1. Walk straight up to the section. It sees section 1. He says, open up tasks. it opens up on the screen all the tasks he needs to perform. As he's performing them, his voice recognizing completed, completed, completed. In some instances, it says provide visual evidence. Take photo, zoom, snap, gone, into the file, done. So just think of the use case, right? Not just in the movies. It's actually got a lot of use. If you try and piece together all the different things you could possibly do with it, it's pretty insane. Terminate call. To the main menu, just go navigate home.
Navigate home.
It's pretty interesting. Now, the trick is to find out where exactly to put the lens so you actually get a good view of the field. Yeah, it's quite narrow, yeah. But I've been playing with it just for a few hours, and it's growing on me, eh? It's growing on me. So I can definitely see some use cases. Normally, I would take my phone, turn on the, oh, by the way, it's got, like I said, a flashlight built in as well. So you can turn on flashlight, that sort of stuff. But normally, I would turn on the light on my phone and I'd be in a video call with someone and go, can you see the problem? Because I'm trying to, you know, and then clunk, there falls the phone in the loo. No, it's not a problem. But you get the idea, you know, and then you damage your phone and it's just ridiculous, eh? And I was actually doing something like that this morning. It was in the back of a cabinet because one of the water pumps on my aquarium was acting up and I couldn't even phone anyone, but I had the phone in there with a light and you can imagine it's just a real pain. So just think of the use cases in that space. It's got, by the way, it's got a barcode scanner as well built in. So how I get it connected to the internet, how I put my credentials on is pretty easy. I've got an app. I put the credentials on the app and I go generate QR and then I just go and then go barcode scanner. And it scans it and goes, oh, I know what that is. And it just logs in. So that's how you do credentials. It's managed from a platform in the back end. That's obviously, it's a free platform. You can sign up for it if you want. It's basically just creating profiles, policies, use cases, asset management, what apps to deploy, and then you just go deploy. And once that's on the internet, connected, it's magic, they just appear. So putting Teams on there for me was an email to Realwear and going, I'd like to demo Teams on this unit. And they went, okay, have you got a registered account? I went, yep. Got an account, thank you. They said, okay, chuck the serial number in, create your policy and deploy. And I went and I did that and I thought, well, what happens now? And then when I looked at the unit, it said, oh, Teams has been deployed. I was like, what? So it was pretty easy, pretty straightforward. And you can do it that way. Yeah, so don't know, maybe we're yeah, you've got it the right way now. So for those of you who are online, it's getting a little pass around and you missed out.
It's incredibly clear, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I think it's a 720p resolution comparison to having a tablet, a 7-inch tablet sitting, what about there? So interesting, yeah, very interesting.
You just got to be careful you don't walk into something.
Yeah. So why are you closing the other eye? I thought you were laughing at me for doing that.
It's weird, eh? You just want to close the eye, but then you walk into something.
It takes a little bit of getting used to. I think the best I've seen so far is my son walking around following the dog, taking photos and videos of the dog.
Yeah, it's okay now, I'm used to it. It didn't take long.
No.
Just a time.
And it feels like it just kind of wherever you look, that's just where your image is, right? It doesn't feel like it's actually obstructing your view.
Wow.
It's interesting, eh? Anyway, that's kind of brings us to time. What I'll do for the sake of everyone is in our meetup, I will put the link to the, I'll actually show you just so that you're aware. Oh, I'm not up there anymore. Ooh, that didn't work. Okay, never mind. So what I do have is I've got in the slide deck, which I'll put on there, I've actually got the Crestron unit. Oh, Crestron, that's all yours, eh? Freebies, mate. Free advertising. The Realwear unit, I've got a little 360 thing that it does and spins around and shows you where the speaker is and the microphone, the battery lasts, I think, 12 hours and all that kind of stuff. It's in there. And then I've also got a video embedded in the PowerPoint deck of the manager or the GM for Realwear, where he's showing you how it works. By the way, WebEx works on it as well. And I don't think they'll do Zoom, but who knows? More and more things are coming to it. They do a developer university as well, where they're teaching people to take common today apps and overlaying them with the voice application. So you can take anything and turn it into a voice-activated program specifically for that. And then I've got a, so I've got a demonstration of how they do that. They show you in real life, and they show you the team side and the person wearing the headset, just to give you a feel for the art of the possible, as they say. And then, of course, the final section is a 20-minute video, like I said before, just on how to set up shifts. So shifts is that really cool program you get in your Office 365 tenant where you can schedule shifts, and the people who are in the shifts can swap them out, request time off, ask for more shifts, all that kind of stuff, straight from their mobile devices. So the demo's got that in there. I've actually got it running on my cell phone. That's what I use to record that. So it's in there. It's also got things like requesting leave, all built in. That survey I spoke of before, where you can go and check the heartbeat of folks, that's baked into that survey as well, into that video, how to get it, where it is, how to access it, how to turn it on, how to push it out to the users. All of it's in there. It's 20 minutes of lots of first-line worker stuff. It's all you need to know about first-line workers without customizing anything.
We used to use the term coalface.
Coalface, that's it. Yes, that's racist now.
Question from online here. How useful is this thing when it's not connected to the internet? Does it just take photos?
Yeah, pretty much. So you can, some of the apps will run it offline. Obviously, anything that's communication based will be a problem, right? It's got, I'm trying to remember, I think it's 20 or 40 gigs of storage on it. I forget how much. You break it, you bought it, eh? So it's got heaps of storage. So that's exactly one of the demonstrations in the power plant. The guy actually goes offline, goes in, collects all these artifacts, and as soon as you get on reconnected, it does like your PC does, just resynchronizes and downloads. But it's got heaps of storage. Yeah. Good question.
The answer to my question is Wi-Fi only?
Yes. So at the moment, the way we've been doing it, it's just been tethered to my phone. Yeah. I think they were thinking of putting an Ethernet cable on it, but it apparently reduces your range.
Mobile data could be a good.
I was going to say SIM card, yes.
Yes, that and that. Yeah, I wonder if they'll go there. They probably will.
You want to hear about the power?
Yeah. But they got Wi-Fi everywhere now. I hear there's a hotspot on the moon too, so it's all sorted. Yeah. Online, all good. No more questions.
Latency.
No more questions so far.
Yeah, exactly.
Ask away.
Right. So we still have the matter of that was a failed attempt, by the way,
Wow.
by me actually. I should have been more firm. Right. Okay. So let me think of something really hard. What is the prize? Yeah, tell us about the prize.
Sure.
So we have a prize, and of course, all of those who are online. What you stand to win is an image of the prize.
No, it doesn't look like that. No, it's Crestron branded, but it's a secure backpack with USB charging and peripherals.
There you go. Yeah. It also works as a jetpack.
And it's waterproof.
Cool.
What was the planet that was mentioned in my Crestron presentation? You were first, Rob. That's cheating. You're a manufacturer. Yep.
Did you get
Gentleman in the back. Yes, it was.
Yeah. So do me a favour. Do get a kisses and hugs while you get it away.
Sure.
So
Would you like to come up, sir?
2 meter distancing. Eh?
Are we allowed to touch each other?
This time. Elbows.
Thank you very much.
No worries. Oh, okay.
I'll be right, mate.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Right, so if anyone has any more questions and you're a bit shy, we're going to stick around for a few minutes while we tidy up and unbreak the stuff we've modified. And so if you want to have a look at the HMT as well, please do come and have a look. And if you have any other questions, that was cool as well. And if you're really that shy, just do the meetup channel. You're able to, click any questions, or if you go, hey, actually, it would be really nice if you guys sort of looked at something else. Maybe there's another product you have and you're interested in wanting to know what we think. We love reviewing products, don't we, Andy?
Yep. Go me a
Tell me
son.
on the camera again.
Yes.
So welcome. You're welcome too. And if there is anything in particular you think, hey, we'd like to hear about, maybe it's that Vodafone SIP stuff. I'm sure we can find somebody to talk about that. So thanks for coming. And if any of you are going to IUC, to the IUC event that starts in about an hour, no? Which is drinks down the road somewhere. I don't know the answer. I'll just follow Travis. Okay.